Hey everybody, it's Bus. We're getting ready to kick off expedition number 305. And so, a couple things before we click into it. The 2.6 patch did come out, I guess, yesterday at this point, and there were no changes, so nothing big there. No changes to the tier list, no changes to any of the card pools. Is the big reason why I really just do the tier list every other patches because this. There's typically something, but there was nothing at all this time, and so glad we skipped over that. And then also, I do plan on streaming on Twitch this upcoming weekend. Planning on doing it on Saturday and Sunday, starting at 1 o'clock Central Time, running until at least 4 o'clock Central Time. So at least 3 hours. Maybe we'll stick around later. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, on this Saturday and Sunday, it should be the 17th and 18th of April, and that's in Central Time over here. We'll call it America time, Chicago time if you're looking at your Windows system, or it's GMT -5 if you're if you're used to uh, time zones like that. But nonetheless, let's take a peek at what shows up here. I'm kind of interested in just jumping in on this Nocturne. I do know this Black Mist Nocturne very reasonably turns just into Mist Wraiths, but we haven't actually seen this card pull in a long time, and so I'm happy enough to go and pursue that one. And so I know we have both recently drafted Vladimir and Misfortune, and so I feel okay to skip over these. I'm not a huge fan of either of these card pulls. Just kind of quickly, the big strengths with Vladimir are all of the 2 drops that live in this card pool tends to lead to a very good aggressive Noxus deck, and then Misfortune wants to be paired up with Scouts. It's the easiest way to get her to flip. If you can't pair her up with Scouts, then you want to get her paired up with like Challengers or Vulnerables. So you can kind of pick on your opponent's smaller units, and you can trade up into their bigger units due to her dealing 1 damage to everything. But nonetheless, this trial, we're going to come over here and take this Black Mist Nocturne. It is arguably the best card pool in the game. If it's not the best one, it's in the top 5. This is a extremely strong one. Has a lot of decks that it can just kind of pivot into. It wants to just be Mist Wraiths, which is bonkers good if it comes together. It's very good at just being a Fearsomes deck, to where you can use, say, like Frenzied Skitterer, Nocturne, the Fearsome Dog, Arachnid Horrors. It's just a big bunch of Fearsomes and Shadow Isles. You can even try to pair it up with Shurima. That's kind of what Nasus wants to see with his negative attack abilities. Or you can get this kind of lined up with the standard Nightfall deck. So, let's take a peek at this a little more in depth. We'll get it pulled up on the site. If you're not familiar, it's ftpbus.com. It's where I keep all of my expedition related content. And we are keeping things kind of up to date here. I have been doing a few of the Lab of Legends. We've been making our playthrough there, if that is kind of your thing. Things could be a little bit easier to find with the search box, but the guide section also has all of our YouTube content here. But today we will be over on the Expedition Helper. I have noticed, I don't know if the people following along on the expedition side of things are used to this, or if this is a question that usually just comes from the tier list people. But we do have like the 3-minute guides attached to all of these card pools, and so I've been getting some requests to do a little more. People are, they feel like they have a good grasp of what champions to take, but not what to do throughout the rest of the draft. Hopefully, these 3-minute guides will help you decide on what to do throughout the remainder of the draft. But all those things aside, over here with the Black Mist Nocturne, ideally we'll take this, get him paired up with another Shadow Isles champion, and then just dive in onto the Mist Wraiths. And so, if you follow along regularly, we've been talking a lot about elites here in the recent patches with the release of the Jarvan cards out of the new set. It's very easy to get yourself set up to where you're seeing Demacian Steel and Challenger Jarvan showing up at the same time. And so you're kind of getting like double chances at hitting Battlesmiths, double chances at hitting reinforcements, and then kind of double chances at just hitting the cheap side of the elites curve. And so, we do look to do a lot of the same thing here with the Black Mist Nocturne and get paired up with Afterlife Callista. That's the other Mist Wraith pool that lives over here. And so if we're able to, just cut out the other factions and get 3 Shadow Isles packs showing up every time, then it's going to really increase our chances of seeing these Mist Wraiths and these kind of on-theme packs. And so that will be, the ideal solution, just finding a Shadow Isles champion second. If we can't do that again, we'll be looking for, Shurima, so we can try to move to this Nasus, hey, we're playing Fearsomes, but let's give your opponent's units neg attack so they can't block kind of theme. Or we'll be looked to be playing with with Targon and looking to pursue the Nightfalls. And so, lots of interesting decks that can come out of this. But again, the Mist Wraiths are arguably the most powerful strategy we can be pursuing in Expedition. And so, I don't want to dive in too much further. We'll have to kind of see how these things pan out and which deck we're wanting to pursue after this. Beautiful, beautiful. Elise is fantastic here, and so as we were kind of mentioning, maybe we'll end up in the fearsomes, and Elise has fearsome, Arachnid Horror has fearsome. This is just a very easy slam of a pack here with the Elise. The problems with these other two, this Nox and my Darius. Tends to kind of want to be like a slower, overwhelmed deck. If you want to allegiance your Basilisk Riders, you need to be all Noxus, and just not something that pairs up too well with Nocturne. Same deal with Yasuo. There's no stuns, there's no recalls in Shadow Isles, so it's tough for us to get value out of Fey Blade Twirler, tough for us to get value out of Yasuo. So yeah, very happy to pick up this Elise. We'll pick her up and talk about this a little bit as well. So this kind of like points to two decks that we'd really want to be drafting, right? With Elise, she has Fearsome, Arachnid Horror has Fearsome, she has Fearsome Dog in this card pool for whatever reason, and then to a lesser degree, things like the Fresh Offerings unit have Fearsome, Scuttlegeist has Fearsome. If you notice the words we said over and over again, all of these cards have Fearsome. And so, kind of the thing that we really look towards with these kind of evasive units is, if we have, say, one normal unit and one fearsome unit on the board, our opponent can kind of like pick and choose what they're going to do. They'll probably just block our fearsome with their 1/3 attack unit, and then their smaller units can go after our non-fearsomes. Or, kind of the thing I like to describe of, say, we took that Yasuo likes to play elusives, and then so if we have like two elusives and two fearsomes on the board, our opponent can kind of like pick and choose how they want to deal with things. Maybe they'll just ignore our fearsomes whatsoever, devote all of their resources to dealing with our elusives, and then they just kind of have like leftover bits that can kind of still handle our strategy because we're out here half-assing everything. But if we're looking at this in the sense of just what if we have four fearsomes on the board, our opponent's 2-drops are all just kind of completely negated. Anything that we have to make our opponent's 3-attack units have 2-attack will negate all of those units as well, and you get kind of this cascading effect of goodness when you're stacking up with the same evasive ability. And so, if we aren't able to piece together the Mist Wraiths, or if we only get, a handful of them, we can look to these other card pools to try to pick up some more fearsomes. So, again, here's with Elise, there's Arachnid Horror. Frenzied Skitterer does this neg attack thing, and so that's what we will be looking to do here. And so I'm on point with just fully drafting around Nocturne here. It's not really up in the air as to whether or not we will draft fearsomes or we'll draft Mist Wraiths, or you can even kind of like backdoor into drafting spiders here, but most certainly want to be finding ourselves in the number one choice of finding fearsomes, and then in the number two choice finding the number one choice finding Mist Wraiths, and the number two choice finding fearsomes. And so, as we see with this pack, I think like objectively, the Arachnid Horror Vile Feast are a little bit stronger, but the thing that we're really going to want to see here is we're going to want to have as many of these Black Mist packs show up as we can. This is how we're going to get more fearsomes on the board. And then the Frenzied Skitterer is, a rare unit that's an activator. If we want to, turn off our opponent's 3-attack units from blocking, we do need Frenzied Skitterer to show up. And so, if we're just talking from like an objective power level standpoint, I do think Arachnid Horror Vile Feast are better, but from the outcomes that I want, I really want to see these Mist Wraith packs every time. I want the game to really think that we're trying to draft towards the Black Mist. I'm going to come over here and take this Black Mist pack. Okay, good deal. And here we go. Here's our first Wraithcaller. Nothing in the game that we would take over a Wraithcaller, a Mist Wraith, or a Risen Mists at this point. And so, very happy to snatch these up. A super easy take. Okay, and then back to having to make a decision. And again, I'm okay with picking up these Frenzied Skitterers. I do kind of like this sub-theme of being able to give our opponent's units neg attack. This is kind of what I think Slayer's Nasus is meant to do. And so, if we do see a Shurima pack here, we could consider taking it, but alas, we do not. So, as far as this one goes, again, we're not going to take Noxus cards. We want to see 3 Shadow Isles packs through every draft pick. And so we're not going to gum things up with these rando spider cards. But this one is kind of close. The thing with the Elise pools and both of the Nocturne pools is none of them have Vengeances in it. And so we do need to find one of these kind of unconditional removal spells. And so I'm kind of leaning towards the Crumble here. We're not going to have any Soul Shepherd value anyways. And so I want the removal spell. And then kind of as kind of a, a side piece of goodness here, if you will. The sapling toss can, maybe give us some nightfalls for something like the onlooker. We can hopefully get something going with this. Okay. All right, this is quite the pack here. Again, we've got another Mist Wraith. This is looking extremely good. Mist Wraith with a Fearsome, just exactly what we want. Okay, what do we do here? We're offered up a bunch of turds. This is a deck where I very much want to ignore Cursed Keepers. We're not going to have any way to sacrifice this, and this is just going to be a card that comes down, takes up some space on our bench, maybe deals 2 damage to our opponent throughout the game. Just not worth having. And so can't really count on our opponents to play Make It Rains to make this thing any good. So we'll let that one go. I don't think we're going to get a whole lot of Chronicler of Ruin value here, but I am kind of interested in picking up the Rekindler. We do need like a bit of top end, and all the Shadow Isles top end is pretty terrible, and so the Rekindler is pretty good there. I wanted to see if we had anything we could do with the Chronicler. There is the Wraith Collar. This is, of course, works out fantastically. You can hit a Mist Wraith to give all of your Mist Wraiths a bonus. We have a ton of Frenzied Skitterers, and so this isn't like good value, but I think we can get some value out of this thing. Ideally here, I think we would want to take the Hapless Aristocrat. So if we do find some Blighted Caretakers, we have an easy way to take advantage of them, but the Fresh Offerings is pretty terrible. So let's, at least shore up our top end here just a little bit. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. A Wraith Collar with a Mist Wraith. Can't snap that down any faster. Okay, so a Vengeance does make an appearance. We're not going to get much value out of Mask Mother in these trials, but it does have Fearsome. I think pretty much everything here has had Fearsome. And then, at least kind of one of the bonuses with this thing is we can hit some of these more like value-oriented expensive units, like eating a Wraith Collar, eating a Spirit Leech, eating a Chronicler of Ruin can be pretty good. It does turn this into being, like a 6 or a 7 drop, but, it's a nice little piece of value we can get out of that. Okay. All right, these cards aren't too exciting. I'm moderately interested in Dusk Riders. Again, it has Fearsome, it has Nightfall if we want to try to level up our Nocturnes. And then it does have a bit of removal here in the Unspeakable Horror. I think this is what we're actually looking for. It's just finding, something to do in these Unspeakable Horrors. We don't have any good removal in the early game. We don't have, I call it middling removal. Some games kind of call it pings or conditional removal. We just don't have a lot of this right now. We just have our Crumble and our Unspeakable Horror, or our Crumble and our Vengeance. And so I think I'm pretty happy to pick these up. I'd like to see 2 or 3 of those style of removal spells. Okay, and here's at least a little bit of removal. We do pick up the Blighted Caretaker here. Man, I just realized how out of whack our 4-drops got. There's not a lot we could do about that, but taking the Chronicler of Ruin and the 2 Spirit Leeches makes it good, kind of awkward. But, here we go. Here's our ideal late game in Neverglade Collector along with a Blighted Caretaker. This is a pretty easy take here. Okay, and then a Mist Wraith with a second Vengeance. Again, we can't pass any of these Mist Wraiths. We're ideally going to get like 4 or 5 or 6 of them, and we just have to take them whenever they show up. Okay, so here, now that we have picked up a Brood Awakening, or not a Brood Awakening, a Hapless Aristocrat, did we not? Oh, we skipped on him, didn't it? Here's the Hapless Aristocrat we're taking. I meant to say, now that we've picked up a Blighted Caretaker, we're going to go out of our way a little bit more to pick up this Hapless Aristocrat. Very, very good take here. I'd kind of like to pick up some of these Scuttlegeists, but ultimately not super important. And okay, with this one, this is kind of closer and more interesting than it seems. I think we probably just need to come in and take the Neverglade Collector. This is the arguably strongest of the 2 choices, but I'm also interested in picking up this Unspeakable Horror. This isn't a deck that really gets a lot of value out of Spirit Leeches. We don't have any of these, kind of like free to sacrifice units, and so we have to kind of develop these like awkward boards to sacrifice things to Spirit Leech. And so I think I kind of do want this Unspeakable Horror here. Again, just, picks up some Nightfalls, have some kind of conditional removals. I think this should be pretty decent here. Okay, and it's that time of the trial. We do have to go and make something premium. This is one of these things where, pretty much everything's already premium. I know the Mist Wraiths are, all of the Nightfall cards are. I think I've already done Chronicler of Ruin, so I think it's going to come down to either like Spirit Leech or Sapling Toss. And so let's take a peek at those and see if we've managed to make those premium yet. Look at that, Sapling Toss is ready to go. I think I'm kind of on point with this one. This is going to be kind of functioning as our removal spell. We can get some value out of these premium saplings. I'm pretty on board with what we're doing here. So okay, let's get to it. So this isn't like a good deck yet. It has the makings of the raw power that you need for these to be good. It has two Wraith Callers, two Mist Wraiths, one Risen Mists. I typically look to try to get like 3 or 4 Wraith Callers, 1 or 2 Risen Mists, and then just every single Mist Wraith we can find. We'd play like 8 Mist Wraiths if we could find them all. And so we'd have a little bit of work to do in that sense. This has kind of like a tingling of being like a Afterlife Callista style deck to it. Which we just aren't doing. And so it might take us, a bit of time to get the ball rolling here at the beginning. But, we have all of the tools to make this into something pretty powerful. We have like the game closers and all of the spiders and the nocturnes. We have a nice pile of fearsomes that aren't mist wraiths. It's just going to be a matter of, kind of finding this early game and trimming out these kind of like 4 and 5 drops that we don't really want. Right? See, hands like this are kind of awkward. So I think we keep the sapling toss. We may have to keep the skitterer here. I don't think we have enough early game plays to just let it go. So gotta keep a little bit of interactivity here. Oro cannon. Interesting. It's not quite good enough for me to want a sapling toss. It's weird seeing it come out of a Lux deck. But I was considering, if he'd played a little bit of a better unit, then I would have ran this out just to protect our Mist Wraith, but it's not what we saw here. Ideally, he'll just play the second Poro and let us be. Okay, then I'm pretty cool with starting to drop skitterers. Let's see what he does here. Yeah, we're certainly dropping it now. Well, let's wait on him to play an additional unit, right? He has to play another unit for this Fleet Feather Tracker to be any good. I was hoping that was going to be the case. Okay. Alright, well we just have to start adding spiders now. This turn didn't quite go as planned. I intended to weaken all of these units and then still just have things on board. But everything can't go right all the time. Ooh, that's pretty right though. That's pretty solid draw. So we can really protect our fearsomes here if we want, right? Since we have the sapling on the board. He plays a 3/3, it gets a touch awkward. I'd rather just trade a fearsome for a 3/3 if that's what he's doing, but there's the full priced gotcha. Okay. This seems extremely good for us now. Got the answer to Lux, should he have it. Got a head on board, have some more fearsomes in our hand. It's going to be a matter of finding some things to continue to do. Okay. We should have glimpsed beyond that. I was trying to think of how we get this this Dusk Raider, on board with Nightfall, and it was going to have to be glimpsed beyond. But you don't have to be in like a super hurry. Still not really doing anything.
First day on the job. The gun's real.
Okay. This is actually a pretty scary late game unit. I'm glad to go ahead and just vengeance this. It's so easy for these decks to just chain this into like 2 and 3 and 4 cards a turn.
Motive.
Alright, what you got, friend? Some big plays with this 3 mana? Nope. Okay. Not a bad draw. You can hit the Wraith Caller with it for another Mist Wraith.
Yep, I'm flying. The other forward.
You got it. So I think our board is good enough to not mess around with any of these. Let's see what we draw first. That's certainly what we draw first. But I didn't think we needed to do anything but open. That was like one of the actual few cards I would be okay with just slamming down. That's what we pick up. I don't want to spend a crumble on our Mist Wraith into these things. Like, you know, we can maybe find a much better crumble target in the future. But now that we've picked up the Unspeakable Horror, very happy to just kill off whatever comes in to block Mist Wraith. Oh. Okay, we're 1 damage off the lethal, sure. Maybe we'll hit a Doom Beast like this. This game's pretty done. Not quite sure what he could draw here to get out of this, but it'd have to be a good one. Alrighty, got that first win. You can see some of the raw power here, right? We drew a lot of the good pieces of our deck. You can see how strong that these can come out, how powerful these Wraith Callers are. Just we're a few cards from this being like 7 win optimal. So again, like, you know, we don't have to take the Nocturnes. I'm, you know, pretty much planning to do it since, you know, we don't have any removal spells. It has this ability that weakens our opponent's units to make all of our things tougher to block. I was really surprised that it didn't show us a Callista. Like, Callista is who we would ideally be taking here. Kindred is always an option, but I don't think we're really a Kindred style deck here. I'm happy enough to come in and take the Nocturnes. You'll probably talk a lot of trash if I come out here playing Kindreds. I hate that card so much. So some Zed with Garen. This hand is pretty bad. I don't think we'll even get much value out of this Unspeakable Horror. I think we just kind of want to you know, hard mulligan for Mist Wraiths and try to find an answer to Zed. Which we have found an answer to Zed, just kind of awkward to actually pull off.
You're covered.
Okay.
There's nothing to fear. My steel is yours.
We technically don't have to worry about this in the sense that we can just sapling, you know, we can hit it with the sapling, or we can just weaken it with the skitterer so it can't block our Elise. But very easy for us to play skitterer and then him just to play a 3/3 afterwards. And so I think this still feels pretty reasonable here. But if we have to trade off our Elise, then fine. You know, we aren't a spider's build around here. It looks like, for our opponent's perspective, we might appear to be a spider's build around, but that's certainly not what we're actually doing.
Choose a bite.
Okay. I mean, at the end of the day, we traded off a sapling toss for our opponent's 1-cost card. That's fine. And to kind of like play into the future, I don't think we're gonna open, but it's like if we add the Hapless Aristocrat now, any attack he makes, we can threaten to flip our Elise. And so I don't think he's going to be attacking now that we've played this unit. Then we'll just have to kind of like bank up and see what we can pull off. Oh boy. Oh buddy.
Please, I have connections.
I don't think he quite caught how that interaction was going to work. Maybe he did and just doesn't care, but It seems like you wouldn't want our Elise to just be flipping. Okay. Watch this little trick. Well, I guess we're coin flipping now, aren't we? Oh man. All right. This game is done if we hit Elise, and then if we hit Aristocrat, then it's just kind of fine. Just kind of fine, I guess. Okay, let's get everything on here. You can only add 1 unit. I assume it's just going to kill like a Skitter or a Fearsome dog, and it doesn't really put us in too bad of a spot. Need to get this chunk damage in. So, I mean, I'd say from his perspective, he's going to want to, like, block Mist Wraith with Usari, and then he's just going to have to put Iron Blade Keeper down in front of one of these smaller units. But glad to see this happen. I think we're getting this huge chunk of damage in, and now we can kill his Usari with a Unspeakable Horror. Getting real close to the end there. Just a little bit more fearsomage.
Fear the dark.
Really want to get a card out of this Unspeakable Horror. Okay. Should be pretty obvious that we're about to Unspeakable Horror now. But we'll see if that changes how he does anything here.
One with the shadows.
Okay. We're just getting 1 unit off the board either way. So we can still get wider than him. It's going to block our 2/2/1s. Eclipse Dragon. Always a good time for an Eclipse Dragon. This doesn't change anything, and so
I must get out of here.
getting down to Doom Beast range with this attack. It's another big boy off of the board. Maybe he'll just fall to 1, but can't imagine he just falls to 1 or falls to 2 and sits in Doom Beast range. Okay. We don't allow that kind of thing here. So we just need to be 1 wider than this guy. You know, if we could also just kind of throw down Dusk Raider and hope for the best. He's got the fearsome. So okay. It's reinforcements is awkward. Everything about this is awkward now because I kind of want to get the Eclipse Dragon down.
Attack formation. A gal.
So this will be a 5/5 Dusk Raider if we want to go for it. I think we just kind of have to at this point. Well, getting the 2 cards off the Eclipse Dragon's so big though. Probably got to play for all of our value. We just got the 1 Doom Beast, 1 Unspeakable Horror. There's the Doom Beast. It's gonna take a turn, but hopefully it'll be enough.
I will hold the line.
Okay. We ever just run this Eclipse Dragon out? It's just like the thing with this is we can hit so many elusives, right? We can hit Golden Sister, we can hit like the 800 various just expensive ones, and so I think I really want to just hang on to this. We can get a little bit of everything going now. It should be tough for him to lethal us. We're just going to block everything. that gets us. As long as he doesn't have any lifesteal here, we should be pretty okay. Okay. Pretty sure that cancels our nightfall, did it? No. No. Okay. So no elusives, but we did hit a traveler. Guess we technically could have gone ahead and ran out the Doom Beast in case he has like the random karma thing that heals, but that thing's like epic and so challenging to actually have come about. I'd feel just much better if he just spent a bunch of mana so he couldn't play like the more likely line of barrier lifesteal plus single combat. But I think if he was going to do that, he would have done it on the Badger Bear, right? He would have gone ahead and gave it lifesteal before he hit, so he would get 2 lifesteals off of this. I think that makes sense, right? I said it, so it has to make sense. That's the way it works. That's the way it works. Okay. Anything cool here? Not like super cool, but I think I'm still on point with getting rid of these spirit leeches. You can see how these games play out where we don't have a lot of targets for this. And I'd rather just get rid of them. So here's some dogs, a reasonable pickup. Take that, magic. Spell nullifies me a lot. I don't know. It feels like it should be something that's easily understandable, and I still can't completely grasp the nuances of spell shield. I wish it was just more global. Whatevs. It's at least not as abysmal as hexproof. I'll give it that. The dumb ability. I get where like hexproof. If you're not familiar, it's where your opponent can't target your stuff. It's a magic ability. Just it's I see where like the logic behind it lies, and that if you're playing like green, the color of just giant monsters, then it sucks to play your giant monster and have your opponent just spend like a 2-mana removal spell on it. But ever since they've had decks like Boggles come out, any format where Boggles is good, probably just abysmal. But all right, let's see what we can do here. This is fine. Again, kind of like the previous round against Zed. We didn't run into him, but Sapling Toss is one of our few ways to actually interact with Zed, and so I do want to go ahead and hang on to that one. Otherwise, we got this Mist Wraith draw here. We can do some stuff. You can see where this is awkward. So it's like, the turn 3 is gonna roll around. He's just gonna have to like, if he drops Zed, we don't have any way to come in and just take him down. So for the moment, I think this is okay. We could have played like Sapling Tosses instead of Mist Wraith, but it feels a little off. I think we're good to just like bank here. See if you. Oh, no Zed. Yeah. So it's like we're definitely going to play 2 Sapling Tosses this turn. Ooh, we're just going to have the full board now. Big draw and Wraith Collar. His attacks are pretty good. This is at least a good spot for the Aristocrat to get in a big damage prevent, but...
Please, I have connections.
Then the question that we'll have now is like, do we actually want to attack with Wraith Collar? Because I really want to be playing Chronicler of Ruin on it so that we get the additional Mist Wraith. We're just kind of like risking it into the Blade Keeper. I think it's okay. Let's get this chunk damage in. Right, my idea here, if everything goes to plan and this thing just like blocks a unit and he doesn't spend the combat trick or whatever, is that ideally we can play Chronicler of Ruin onto Wraithcaller and then Unspeakable Horror, his big young witch. Okay.
I pity you.
All good. Go face with this? I doubt it. What up, dogs? Fearsome dogs. Don't look at this and think it's a bird. It's totally a dog. Alright, we got a pretty commanding spot here. Would love to get the fearsome dogs down next turn. We'll see how this plays out, but looking pretty strong here.
Come on, Rib.
And like quick attack challenge down a Mist Wraith. Can't attack with the Blade Keeper. Okay. Skitter is interesting.
I pull the strings.
Make him have to do more work to block our fearsomes. Plan on just going all in here, unless the dude like starts doing this weird shit where he just doesn't play any cards, and it's like, oh, do we have to really beat a judgment here? As long as he just like starts playing units reasonably, then I think we can get our fearsome dogs and our skitter online and just crush this turn. Okay, I like seeing Garen come down. We're gonna play an onlooker. We're gonna play another onlooker to replace a spiderling. We don't currently get any value out of playing this skitterer, so let's not. Something like this, I guess.
Suffer long.
Hold fast.
Do you like magic?
I like magic. So this is looking, at least lines up good for a 6-hit. It's reasonable to suspect he may not have another unit here, since he only has 2 actual mana. Okay, I think we probably just closed this out. Boop. Give him a little boop. Say what up. Little tippy tap. Alrighty. Let's pick up this third Nocturne. We'll draw him before the trial's over, but right? At some point this trial, we will probably draw a Nocturne, especially if we have 3 in our deck. But cool, we got another Wraithcaller and a Skitterer. On point. So yeah, I mean, we'll take this. So like the things we're looking to do here, to kind of like recap a little bit. Down here at the top end, I'd love to get rid of Rekindler, Brood Awakening to a degree. Like Dusk Rider is okay, and then it says Nightfall on it, and then that's what you use to level up your Nocturne. But you know, it's not like a card we're like really playing towards. If we were able to like successfully level up a Nocturne this trial, I would be super surprised. Like the thing that we're going to be doing with Nocturne is, you know, planning for Nightfall, giving everything our opponent has the neg1 and vulnerable, and then say like hook their one big unit with a say Neverglade or with a Wraithcaller, and then you know they don't have any 3 attack units left to block the rest of our dudes. That's how like Nocturne tends to function in these style of decks. But you know, the Dusk Rider can at least help flip a Nocturne if that's what our kind of play is. He's a much better late game play for us than something like the Rekindler. But nonetheless, I want to get rid of the Rekindler. I want to get rid of Brood Awakening. Dusk Rider is tradable. I want to get rid of Crumble. Up here, we can get rid of Chronicler of Ruin and Mist Call. Hang on to our 5 Frenzied Skitterers. Mask Mother should go. And then the things that we're really just looking for here are things like Hapless Aristocrat. We'd be okay with Warden's Prey. We'd be okay with Arachnid Horrors. The spider that has Fearsome. We're pretty good on Frenzied Skitters at this point. And then, of course, we'll take anything that has Mist Wraith on it. And I wouldn't be opposed to, say, like picking up another Unspeakable Horror or picking up a Black Spear or two. We just need to get rid of this expensive shit down here, replace replace it with cheaper shit up here, and hope the cheaper shit we're replacing it with is either a Hapless Aristocrat or something that says Fearsome on it. But no, we're looking pretty good here. All right. Continue on. Get scared of our fearsomes. There's our boy. Everybody loves Kindred. Said fucking no one. Get this shit out of here. Well, let's see what we can do. I think we can always keep an Elise. Nocturne can go. He's a little bit expensive. Touch awkward of a draw. This is kind of one of these spots where it's, talking about wanting Hapless Aristocrat. It's for stuff like this. Alrighty. This Elise should be pretty safe here. I don't think like 3 attack units are immediately coming to mind. Then hopefully the thing that plays out here, I imagine that he just like never blocks the Spiderling, and now we have a unit for our Blighted Caretaker. So let's see if that plays out how we want. Can also just play to Brood Awakening. I don't like it. Let's skitter her. I want a caretaker next turn.
Everyone's a garden.
It's bold. Okay. I guess we won't caretaker next turn. Can we fix this? What I'm trying to think of where their units, like the unit that would be like problematic now is if he was to add a like a Jaw Hunters. I think we're good to just open.
Give them a chance.
Want to do the same? I don't think so. Let's start counterspelling this stuff while we can. There are some like reasonable targets for Unspeakable Horror out of this style of deck, but oh wow, okay, that seems pretty positive for us. We still get our Nightfall card out of Unspeakable Horror, and then he basically played 2 Glimpse Beyonds. Really needing to draw some cards, I guess. Now that we have this 1 banked spell mana, we can also just flip our Elise here, if that seems like a positive play. Very easy for us to, like, where he just doesn't have any units, it's very easy for us to get wider than him with a bunch of little spiders, all with the Challenger.
Sounds of prey excite them.
Down to 24, he's kind of far away from deep. So the Elise flips. Do we have anything cute we can do here to play before we play the Skitter? I don't think we do. We have a lethal here. We got 10 and 2, so there's potential. Like, right, we got 10 from Elise Onlooker, 6 from the Spiders to get to 16. Then we have 3 units we can, or 2, right? We'd still just have a Spiderling and a Skitterer to attach onto his units. Gonna have to like scrap shot our Elise.
You weren't always this way.
So he's gonna Black Spear our Elise and take away our Challenger, but we're still just attacking with everything anyways. Oh. So Unspeakable Horror still does it, but this is still an amazingly beautiful attack. Okay. Get out of here, Kindred player. Get that out of here. Nobody cares how awkward your draw was when you're playing Kindred. You deserve it. Not hating on you, bro. Hating on the world we live in here. All right, we got a Mist Wraith card. Welcome to the team. Mask Brother's pretty weak here, anyways. So good pickup. Fucking Kindred. You can't blame it on the player, man. You gotta blame it on Rito. This is just letting that dude run around. Nah, man. Okay, had to cancel. Opponent was lucky, right? They had 0% chance of winning. Someone just had their luckiest day of Runeterra. Or maybe this new opponent will be their luckiest day of Runeterra. Getting to play against the one and only FTP Bust. Probably a life changer for him. Call out their mom, be like, "You never believe what happened. I played Bust on the internet today." But alright, nonetheless, that is a start. Just kind of doing everything that we want to be doing. We have the Aristocrat Caretaker combo, or we have the good 1-2-3 combo with the two Fearsomes. Everything's looking pretty nice here. Trundle, Tryndamere, and Garen. Makes sense. Yetis are a bit of a problem here. We'll have to see how this guy opens up. If he's going to be more along the lines of, a Yeti style deck since he's playing Tryndamere, or if, he has Garen, so if he might be doing more Demacia type things. I would much rather see him do Demacia type things, but
Footprints here.
be one of these people. Lucking it up. Curious if we should do that. Like, he attacks 100% of the time, and we'd rather this thing just have 2 attack on it. But
Oh, fresh soil.
let's get those damages in. No avalanche? Appreciate it. How bad would avalanche been? But either way, this is not a super ideal start. You get this big burst damage in, but it's pretty easy to assume that essentially every unit that he plays is going to be able to block our units. Maybe not that thing.
Now we go.
Willing to, like, whatever combat trick he's doing here, I'm willing to put Blighted Caretaker in on it. Feels like a troll chant, which I don't want to get like overly invested in. But okay. Alright. Quite how I suspected it, but get a big burst of damage in here as well. Kind of feels like he's going to play Trundle. Same thing. Is this what we want, or do we actually just want to hook the Garen? So if he wants to block with the thing here, he has to put it in front down here. He's going to take 4, 7, 9 and fall to 5. I kind of dig this. Then on our next turn, we're just going to be like doubling up on skitterers anyways, and so hopefully we can deal with any of these kind of lingering blockers. But I think it's good to at least take his option away here. Is this the troll chant? fall to 9. This Garen's gonna flip.
Stay resolute.
It's kind of whatever. Okay, we're wider than you. I'm gonna put the premium on it in front of Garen, okay? That's gonna bring us everything we need to have a successful attack next turn. Okay, so he's in a spot to where he's got his rally, but it's not that scary. We can weaken up some of his units here. Oh, we just hit a collector. Like, I don't even really want to play it. I want this to be like the play on his turn. How do we see this happening? Like, the problem we have here is that he can actually, block all of these spiderlings. I think this. I don't think we can go for collector here. We can make these spiderlings big enough. He's gonna have to put like Garen in front of Skitterer. We're gonna have 2 big boys. Oh fuck! Oh, that was. That's gonna do it. I was worried about an avalanche at some point today. I was not planning on it that wanders. So easy enough. What do we want to do with these? We got a fearsome dog for an onlooker. Seems pretty reasonable. Again, just get these nasty 4-drops out of our deck and load up on the cheaper plays. I wonder if we could have won that game had we. It would have been tough to win had we even played the caretaker. He would have gotten, nugged for 5 and fallen to 4. I guess we would have had maybe enough blockers since Garen and that thing don't overwhelm. But I thought that turn was going to go okay. He's essentially just going to have like 2 blockers, and we're going to have 4 fearsomes. Anywho, this isn't a good start. This is less good, more on the bad side. Do we ever want to just start with an onlooker? Just a punch? It's so easy for them to just have the good 1-drops, though. I think we want to save this.
Come, the journey ahead is long. Do not fear death.
Okay. Kind of awkward. Hopefully, you're counting on a lot of work to come out of these Wraith Collars.
Brothers born from battle.
Okay. We're struggling. This is not how you want to start out. Oh shit! Why didn't we attack? I forgot. Because I just thought he was gonna get the value block, and I forgot our dude just fucking has fearsome. Ugh. Okay. Hopefully that's not our downfall here. I think we'll still be okay, but it's a little sloppy. Do we want to sapling toss? These aren't particularly good targets, but it's likely for him to have a good target next turn after we play our Wraith Collar. So let's go ahead and bring out the dude. Not avalanche, please. I said please, right? So it shouldn't be avalanche.
Our strength is yours.
Okay.
Stop this foolery.
Interesting. So he's gonna have some kind of more ephemerals. Wouldn't have expected that. Okay. Alright, if he didn't have more ephemeral plays, why wouldn't he just block with Soul Shepherd instead? Is he gonna flip? No. We have 2 dogs to worry about. I think we just want to Brood Awakening. The problem with Brood Awakening is we don't threaten to kill his Hecarim, but the Hearthguard's a bad attack either way. I do like this just giving us the 2 blockers for his Riders. It's gonna give us, you know, a touch of value and also giving Skitterer a +1 attack. The next turn we have a big Risen Mist play should we want. So it's like Hecarim should be his only good attack here. Do we even need to do this? If we're just gonna Risen Mists, I think we probably just want to do this, right? Probably even just want to keep 1. Roll to 4. Then he's gonna have 3 blockers next turn. So if he blocks our 3 biggest, it would be Mistwraith, 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 and then we'd be coming in for 10. It's reasonably easy for him, enough for him to interact with that, though. I think I'd prefer to just try to make some kind of Nocturne play next turn. Right, we can just like vulnerable this and hook it with Nocturne, but oh, this thing can't block our Fearsomes either, though. So he's gonna have 2 blockers. Let's just get a board. Can we get completely full of Fearsomes? We're gonna be 1 mana short. No, we can get a Fearsome dog down. Okay, okay. Alrighty, I'm on board with how this is going now. Still want to do the same thing. Gonna Risen Mists. Going to Nocturne here. I tend to replace Wraith. Well, I guess there's really no reason to replace Mistcaller at this point. Right? With the dog, we're just gonna hook something with hook is vulnerable anyways. So I wish I kind of wonder if I should have just put the damage onto Hecarim if we planned on doing that, or if we should have just planned to hook the Hearthguard. I don't like how we've got ourselves in this spot. That change anything? So let's say we hook Hecarim way down here with Nocturne, or with this. He has 2 blockers, so let's say he blocks Nocturne and Mistwraith. Both of his units die. Takes him up to 10. Oh yeah, we need to do it like this. We can technically glimpse beyond through a unit as well. So this is gonna block stuff, sure. Dead. Okay, so yeah, there was a better way to do that. I don't like how we did it. Whether or not it was either put damage on Hecarim on the block, or whether or not it was just hook the Hearthguard so we actually killed something. Both of those would have been better than what we actually did there. But the general game plan with the Nocturne and everything worked out, you know, kind of how we were expecting. So. Okay, alrighty. Well, here's a Hapless Aristocrat. Reasonably happy enough with this. I've wanted the Rekindler 0 times this entire trial, so I've been wanting one drops frequently. I've been wanting Rekindlers never. It's a pretty reasonable pickup. What up, more Garen? Garen with Aurelion Soul. Such an awkward combo. Sure. Not the greatest of starts again. I'd love to have like 6, like 6 Mistwraiths. Man, I just I just watched Lord of the Rings again recently. This is very Lord of the Ringsy. Little Frodo Baggins inside the spider silk. No, oh no, Frodo. Okay, we'll trade if he wants.
You'll go no farther.
This is why I talk about the strength of Hapless Aristocrat so much in terms of these like self-sacrifice decks, whether or not you're playing mainly Blighted Caretaker, but some kind of, you know, Slayer Z style deck, and that, you know, he played that unit. If we want to attack, we can't, right? If our plan is to use Hapless or our plan is to use Blighted Caretaker in the future, we can't make that attack because we just lose our unit and have to play something else. And so, very very powerful little thing to have these leftover units. We're about to get some double value out of it with this Skitterer being able to, causing the Spiderling to be able to take down the Honored Lord. And even if he plays like 3/3 here, we're pretty okay with it. Yep.
You won't suffer long.
You would test my steel?
No honor in this.
You got it, boss. Keep doing that aggro thing. That's what we like to do around here. Okay, Skitterers. Do we ever just play additional Skitterers instead of Mist Wraith, so we get the bigger boost next turn? I kind of dig it, because here's the thing I'm thinking here. As he wants to attack with this first blade, I'm more than happy to put Spiderling in front of it, and then we can just sapling toss this thing down next turn and then play an additional Skitterer. Turns off his Honored Lord again. Ton of damage throughput. I'm pretty on board with that.
They will sing of our deeds.
Okay. Nocturne. Not this turn, Nocturne. So I assume he's going to get to play something. He's going to play like a Garen or a big dragon or something, but this is still how we're going to chunk through the biggest amount of damage. Ooh. Clever. Okay, and then if he really wants to be getting value blocks with his first blade to take a 11 hit here, pretty okay with it. And so I have to assume he's probably just going to go for the trade. Running out of juice here, though. Pick up a little something. Then, as you start worrying about running out of juice, save it up to the Wraith Caller. Okay. Do we just win here? Seems like we just win here.
Hold fast. Defend our banner.
It's gonna try to do something clever, but we got the Vengeance. Can also do stop some amount of clever things with Glimpse Beyond as well, but perfect.
We must not relent.
I would never count on you to relent, Garen. Never. Not once. At least not in our travels to the final battle. So let's see what we can do here. Lots of trade picks incoming. We don't really need any more Frenzied Skitterers. I think we can let that one go. I'm kind of interested in Stalking Shadows. It's just, you know, I'd rather pick up, you know, multiple Mist Wraiths than play a single Dusk Rider. I think this is a pretty reasonable pickup here. Oh, Mist Wraith, easy. You just get in there and trade it out as quick as we can. This one is kind of interesting. I've been like pretty happy with how these Brood Awakenings have been playing. I don't think we need to go for the Scuttlegeist here. I think I wanted to actually just pick up this Mist Call though. Again, it's cheaper, right? That's what my big thing that I'm looking for here. We have the 2 Vengeances and don't really need Crumbles. So it says Mist Wraith. Got here. None of these. It's trying to make us get rid of our Mist Wraiths. Why would we ever want to do that? So we can skip that one. And the last one, we don't want Kindred. Don't want to trade away Wraithcaller. And the Ether Fiend is going to be worse than Vengeance. So we'll skip that one. Alrighty, let's get to it. All Shurima all the time. That's scary. I don't really know what to think of Shurima once they've made it to the final battle. They've historically been pretty terrible mono faction decks. There's just not a whole lot of cards for them, so I mean it kind of is what it is. But this start is also horrible. perhaps we'll find a unit to play on the 3rd turn. This is not a good start.
Would you look at this place? What a shame for you!
Okay, let's just clear this stuff out. Like the Rockhopper's an annoying unit on his own since he can block our fearsomes. So
Oh dear!
let's at least get some of the stuff going.
Sun's beneath me and winds behind me.
Okay. Let's continue to do stuff. Get that unit on. Kinda okay with Unspeakable Horroring this. I wanted to see if he was going to attack first. He's probably not going to. Let's get this out of here. Okay, could be relevant. Oh no, our sapling got vulnerable.
Finally, some action.
All right. This leaves us in a pretty decent spot to try to bust through next turn, especially if we're able to Mist Call back a Wraithcaller.
Renekton's here. It's gonna get good.
Ready yourself.
It's gonna get good. Okay, so how do we approach this one? We can try to just go wider than him. We could look to, what if we say Onlooker Crescent Guardian? He blocks our 2 bigs. Say he puts Renekton in front of the Crescent. Either way, I think I'm pretty on board with this. Can maybe play Nocturne next turn. I don't think that's going to happen. Alright, I assume he's going to take like a 4 hit from our smaller units. Maybe take 1 through Renekton. Picked up Wraithcaller. Nice. The big worry here is him having Spirit Fire. It's not like horrific, but it's like probably we can't just like pass. So Weight of Judgment, okay, that's fine.
Well, look at you.
Glorious battle.
Okay.
Can't believe it.
All right, so we have the Doom Beast for next turn. Could have miscalled there, but I think the Doom Beast will be sufficient.
We have nothing to lose.
Okay. You got it.
No retreat.
Here we go. Bring in the beast. GG. There you have it. Alrighty, yeah, nice little 7 winner. Nice little 7 winner. So let's get this pulled up. We talk about it a little bit more. So yeah, I do want to again mention, you know, I do intend on streaming this upcoming weekend. Those days should be, it'll be Saturday and Sunday. I got to pull up the old calendar again. Saturday and Sunday, the 17th and 18th of April, and again attend on starting up at 1 o'clock Central Time. That's -5 GMT. And then sticking around for at least 3 hours, so at least from like 1 to 4 p.m., maybe longer, depending on how it goes. I don't want to, you know, sign myself up for something I'm a little more comfortable than doing. And so if things are going well, want to stick around longer, I will. If otherwise, you know, I get tired or whatever, we'll cut it at 3. Old man, tend to get a little sleepy and stuff, and so you know, if you've been following along for a while and want to come say hi and such, we'll be there. Or if you just would rather see the expedition played live as opposed to on the YouTube, then we have that for you as well. But nonetheless, yeah, this is, you know, pretty standard Nocturne deck. We got pretty close to everything we're looking for here in the end. This was something I would probably consider more along the lines of a through the final battle, up to the final battle, I would consider it more along the lines of just a fearsome deck. And then in the final battle, I would consider us finally kind of like unlocking the Mistwraith deck. But you can see how powerful it is, even with that awkward draw right there at the end, where, you know, we just didn't have a 2-drop. Still crushed. And so this is, again, I saw some random ass Reddit thread the other day, people talking about how Nocturne was one of the worst champions in the game. I was just like, fucking please, this strategy is bonkers. There's just so much you can do with this card pool. And so, as we kind of mentioned, you can either pursue the Mistwraiths, you can pursue the Fearsomes. You would ideally be 100% Shadow Isles to do either. Not a requirement. You know, otherwise, Shurima can be an interesting pairing. You can kind of, you know, get those benefits from cards like Exhaust and Rite of Dominance and Nasus. And then also, of course, Targon is a nice option just to go for your more standard Nightfall style deck. And so, you know, there's absolutely just like tons of things you can do with Nocturne. Just kind of know what you're trying to get yourself into. Because as we kind of see with these champions that can put themselves into like 3 and 4 different decks, you really want to stack up on the cards in your one deck. And so it's super easy to kind of like piece that together with Mistwraiths, right? If the card says Mistwraith, you put it in your deck. Like, you know, easy enough to figure out. But, you know, to that degree, you are going to be seeing a lot of these cards that we went really out of our way to get rid of. You know, getting rid of the card choices down here are all messed up. But, you know, we were doing nothing to get rid of Blighted Caretakers. But to, you know, like recognizing that like we don't want Rekindler, recognizing we don't want Spirit Bleach, and just trying to get rid of these, you know, weird, expensive, awkward, expensive cards. Replace them with the cheaper ones that say Fearsome on them, and seeing the additional places that we can get some value. And like the additional places here was going to be our Frenzied Skitterer. You know, we had this random collection of spiders. You know, just a handful of them is all it takes to get a big boost out of this. And so, you know, just the Aristocrat plus Elise and then the random Brood Awakening, we got, you know, some pretty powerful +1 attacks throughout the course of this trial, while we were just really playing this Frenzied Skitterer for the negative attack thing. And so, interesting little combo there. But yeah, you know, just do try to, you know, once you get in there, like right at, you know, the start of the trial, you can say, okay, you know, Bus told me that we can draft Mistwraiths, we can draft Fearsomes, we can draft Shurima, or we can draft Nightfall. And then once you kind of like piece yourself into that, think a little bit harder on which specific cards you're going to be looking for. Because if you're looking to play the Nightfall deck, then you're going to look for specifically for the cards that say Nightfall. If you're going to look to draft Mistwraith, you want the cards that specifically say Mistwraith. Or if you have this paired up with Kindred or Callista, you might look to be playing a much slower game, and you might be looking to pick up some of like the sacrifice effects and that kind of thing. And if you're doing that sacrifice effects kind of theme, you're not going to be going out of your way to find something like Stygian Onlooker. You're not going to be looking for Mistwraiths. And so, really just kind of take that moment to stop and say, hey, what are we doing here? Are we going to try to be this like really aggressive fearsomes? Are we going to try to be Nightfall? Are we going to try to be Mistwraiths? Are we going to try to be kill your own units? Just so many choices and so many weird cards that don't always fit into every deck. So really kind of like question yourself as to what you're building towards. Yeah, I thought that showed up pretty nicely here with the addition. We had like the random Spirit Leech. I think we actually had 2 of them, and then it's like not his name is Unspeakable Horror. He's the 2-mana Cursed Keeper shows up, right? And we knew that immediately we didn't want him. There's some cards, some decks that would absolutely love to have Cursed Keeper. This is not one of them, And so don't get confused just because it says 2 mana. It's not a card that naturally belongs in this style of deck. And so, yeah, so, while I did consider this to be the Fearsomes deck and not so much Mistwraiths, the big things we're looking for here are just, keeping our curve super low. We do have to kind of pay the Nightfall attacks on occasion. We do tend to be more on the aggressive side of things. And then we do want to make open attacks so our opponent doesn't get the opportunity to, just drop a 3-attack unit and shut down our attack. And so, the big things with this deck are, finding the cards that say Fearsome on that. Shortly after that, you want to find your first Vengeance, or if you can't find a Vengeance, you want to find a Crumble, just to make sure that you have some kind of guaranteed removal. After that, you're really just looking for some of these ways to get some challenges. I thought we made fantastic usage out of Sapling Toss this trial. You could see very easily how it just lets you, not have to open, right? Your opponent just has one unit on the board. Maybe they have like 1 3-attack unit, and that, okay, I have this Sapling Toss coming around. I'm about to play a Frenzied Skitterer. A Skitterer is going to weaken our opponent's unit, and then we don't have to care what our opponent's play is because we have the Sapling to come in and hook that big unit from blocking our Fearsomes. And so that is kind of like your tier 3 thing. The last thing you're kind of looking for here is this kind of middling removal / challenger type thing. So that would be your Sapling Tosses, your Unspeakable Horrors, your Black Spears if they want to make an appearance. But again, most importantly than tearing these things off, recognizing what cards should appear in this style of deck. And so with this one here, we wanted nothing expensive. We wanted to stay away from this weird like value-oriented stuff like Chronicler of Ruin and I can't remember her name, the Spirit Leech. We aren't trying to do things with the Rekindler. We don't really want Scuttlegeists. That expensive stuff has no home here. We aren't trying to play a value game. We're trying to be very aggressive. And so, just got to kind of pick and choose the right cards. It's not, hey, I'm drafting Shadow Isles today. It's, hey, I'm drafting Fearsomes today. But that is going to do it for this trial. Looks like we got a rewards to claim on. Rewards to claim on? Claims to reward? Something to click on here. And that is it. No champions or anything. And so that is going to do it for us today. Hope you all enjoyed the trial. You maybe worsened your dreams a little bit. You had a little more sadness in your nightfalls. That works in some way, I'm sure. If you learned a thing or two along the way and had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.